the beginning of the Silver Comet Cumberland connector. I'm at the Cobb County Transit Station. Cumberland Mall is right across the street, and beginning of what's going to be a pretty long walk. All right, we're at the beginning of the Silver Comet Trail. We've done the almost 5 miles connector trail from Cumberland Mall, which has mostly been sidewalks in the burbs pretty much. It looks like we're getting into some areas where we're going to go off the road. It's going to feel a little bit more like a trail. Comet Trail, we're about 2.5 miles in, and we're coming up on the bridge over the east-west connector. The Cumberland Silver Comet connector was mostly sidewalks, but as soon as you got on the Silver Comet Trail, everything changed. Even though this is still an extremely urban area, Cobb County, Georgia, probably number 3 in Georgia, 3 or 4. So you get out here, the trail immediately goes off-road, and we've been kind of going parallel to the east-west connector, but not really close to it. As a matter of fact, this is made off an old railroad, so in the places where it cuts into the earth and you've got walls of earth on each side, you really can't hear the road noise that much, which is a rare treat in metro Atlanta. Almost always hear airplanes and cars, everything. But when you get down into these dips where you've got earthen walls on each side, it really shuts a lot of the road noise out and makes it feel a lot more rural. This is probably the first video I've done with any length or much talking. This is the first exercise I've done in about a month and a half. And the first walking I've done since my surgery, and I've been off the chemo, so I'm feeling rough. You ever wonder if people who regularly do this have to make themselves? Today is one of those days. I am having to make myself. I'm on the Silver Comet Trail in Paulding County. That's Highway 92 up there. A good bit's happened since my last video, which was in Cobb County. I am a cancer survivor, and I figured, I went up to the Helon Taylor Trail in Baxter, Labor Day weekend, on chemo with a colostomy bag, right in the middle of chemo at that. I went down to Florida twice, did a good, respectable amount of mileage down there, given that I was on chemo with a colostomy bag. So I figured I'm off chemo now, had my reversal, I ought to be able to do that or more. Well, chemo is a insidious little lifesaver. You can get neuropathy in your feet after your chemo treatment ends. So about 5 miles in, 2 days ago, bottom of my feet started hurting, burning. I did another 4 miles after that in a constant pain. Got to the Floyd Road trailhead. Decided it wouldn't be wise of me to continue going. One thing I've learned, especially since the cancer, is to know my new limitations. And here I am, motorcycle wreck, colon cancer within the last 2 years, and here I am out doing something like this. And I'm probably going to stop at a trailhead, take an Uber down to the Hamilton Home MARTA station, cut across town, take another Uber to my car, regroup, come back out here and park this out, and call that a victory. Trick to things like this is to not get wrapped up in your feelings and not be a big baby because you don't get what you wanted. The trick is to keep moving forward. And looks like I'm coming up on the Hiram Trailhead parking, and I've still got some juice, so I'm going to go a little further. Ideally I'll make it to 278. It's a few more miles down the road. That'll be a good stopping point. Good place to catch an Uber or a Lyft. Probably cut my price down by walking a couple of miles closer to a major highway. And oh, this has got to get on video. It'd be a crime not to. Paulding County patrols this section of the trail because there is the occasional crime out here, usually a woman jogging because some men are animals. They've got a smart car that fits perfectly between the barriers. It looks like he's stationed right there. That is the sheriff's office for the Silver Comet Trail, and that's the sheriff's car. And as funny as a sheriff's car, that's a smart car is, I've not seen the guy. He drove right past me without stopping. But if the guy's about 6'5" and 300 pounds, that would make it even funnier. But honestly, I don't know. Law enforcement doesn't bother you for the most part if you're just out here walking and it's daylight. I would not recommend stealth camping out here. If law enforcement doesn't get you, Metro Atlanta's homeless population might. Well, as much as I prefer more like the National Forest trails and the Appalachian Trail and, you know, getting more off-road, this is something you don't get so much when you're way out in the woods. It definitely may not be interesting to you, but it definitely excites the little boy in me. Looks like they make, looks like there's hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of prefab bridge components. They got a cement mixing place across the way. That makes sense. And we've got flurries, which means I will definitely be stopping at the next trailhead. I do not want to be trying to get an Uber after dark when all this stuff starts to freeze up. We had a lot of rain last night, and there's standing water, everything. And for any of you who have watched the news over the last decade or so, Atlanta doesn't handle black ice so well. So definitely be wanting to get off the road. Not only that, with me cutting this into pieces, probably my very next walk will be Floyd Road Trailhead to this one that I'm going to stop at. And I'll turn around and go back to my car. Not the way I wanted to do it, but glad to be able to be out here and do it. That's, yeah, kind of cool. Urban Trail is definitely interesting in its own way. Not seen the first bicycle today. Go figure. And this is, I guess it's a little chilly to be moving through the wind at that speed. Very cool. Yeah, I would say more like thousands. And when you're on the interstate and you see those big long bridge components, this is where they come from more than likely. Can't imagine there being that many companies that do stuff like that. And here I am, just to prove it. My sister says if there's not a picture, it didn't happen. I am carrying my backwoods pack 40 pounds on it. Try to build my tolerance back up. Neuropathy is one of those things they don't have a cure for. And there's a lot of maybes when you start doing online research. Maybe if you diet and exercise. Maybe if you increase your vitamin D. There's topical stuff you can do. You can massage your feet, rub in lotion and cocoa butter. And of course, anything you go on and look about it that's the slightest bit medical suggests painkillers. I'm not a big fan of painkillers. When I've had my surgeries, I've got off the opioids are great. Nothing kills pain like an opioid, but what you're seeing on the news is real. They are not something you want to get hooked on. They make you forget to eat and drink, and at least in my case, they make me feel strange emotionally. Oddly enough, even though they kill the pain, they tend to make me more prone to depression, which has never really been a big problem with me. I tend to bounce back from negativity pretty fast, especially as I've gotten older and been through more. But when I get on those pills, and that nasty little depression just starts creeping up on me. So it's almost better for me to get off of that and deal with the pain. I tend to be happier. Go figure. All right, we are obviously at 12.3 miles on the Silver Comet Trail. First time I sat down, I'm happy with that. About 5 miles between sit down, not bad. My feet tingle all the time, but yeah, about 5 miles. The tingling changes to pins and needles. I've got a trailhead about a mile ahead of me.